from Portland.
Yeah.
Is our friend Ramona Shelburne. And Momo, I'm going to prepare you for Mychal Thompson claims that your story is a big nothing burger.
Exactly.
He's refusing to admit that this story is even a story. I think it's a huge story.
Let me explain myself.
Right.
Ramona, here's my explanation, Ramona.
Can we let Ramona explain what happened first?
All right.
Momo, what do you got?
I worked pretty hard to write the story.
I'm with you.
So
I'm
for
with
me,
you.
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But I also think, I think it's a huge deal because, there was some talk of how, when is this going to change, going to happen? How long is it going to take for this sale to go through, et cetera, et cetera? Does he really have $10 billion laying around? And I think the answer is yes. He presented to the committee today, and they have to decide whether to recommend it to the full board of governors next week. And I think that vote could come by the end of next week, and he closes on the sale by Halloween.
He has such a strong,
pretty quick.
He has such a strong ownership group. He's done such a great job with the Dodgers. He's got the money behind him. The news would have been, Ramona, is if the NBA denied him.
No, Ramona, the reason I think you have a scoop here is I work for the Lakers. I was under the impression this was going to take a year.
No.
I heard when did you guys break the story that Mark was buying the team?
So Shams had this back in, I think it was like game 3 or 4 of the finals.
Okay, so in June. All right, I heard 12 to 18 months for the sale to close.
No.
That's what I thought too. Because it's $10 billion. That's hard to come up with.
He's got the money.
Right, but if the story being reported is 12 to 18 months to close, and they closed in 3 months, that's a huge story. What are you talking about?
I expected it. I knew it was.
Okay, so Michael is not surprised by your story.
By the way, you've been replaced. Now Rick Monday is doing the game with me tonight because Mark Walter is the new owner.
Rick Monday.
All right.
So Momo, what does this mean in the short term, given the fact that, as you say, next Friday the transition of power could take place? What happens? What's the next move?
Well, now, okay, so the Buss family is still going to have at least 15%. I've heard the number is 18%, but I don't want to say it's 18 because it could be 17 point something, or so it's around that number. So the Buss family still has enough that Jeanie Buss will remain as the governor, the official governor of the Lakers, right? Just like we've been saying the whole time. And I believe she has that in writing for the next 5 years. However, I'm going to tell you, Mark Walter has already been very involved in the Dodgers. With Laker business. I think over the summer is when you really started to see him be more involved, in terms of, he met with Luka and his people. I'm not sure if Luka was there. Maybe it was his people, his agent.
Yeah, Bill Duffy and Larbeth.
There was already they were involving him in a lot of the decisions they were making on free agents and trades and things like that. So he's very involved. And I think, this is actually, it's one of those stories when Mark Cuban sold the Mavericks, we all thought, oh, well, Mark Cuban's going to run the team. He's Mr. Mav, and he still had enough percentage and stuff. And then, Wick Grousbeck was supposed to continue to run the
So, Ramona, you're taking me right where I wanted to go. In the last 3 years, there have been 2 sales where they came out right away and said, right away, Mark Cuban's going to be in charge of day-to-day. Wick Grousbeck's going to be in charge of day-to-day. Now we're hearing Jeanie Buss in charge of day-to-day. Why is this different?
I think because they had a very long and good working partnership beforehand. I think this is, and what do we want to talk about in terms of, is she going to be on every trade call and every decision? Yeah, but I think Mark will too. Okay. But what is Jeanie worked for her father in that role for decades. So I think it's going to go and be similar to how, she'd always been a part of the Lakers, right? There was, this is just the last few years where she'd been the ultimate decision maker. Obviously this is Mark's team now. So, if you own all the team, it's your team. But she's still going to be the governor. And I think day to day is going to still run the way it has been. I think any decisions or changes that happen, I think they're going to take place over time. But I don't think there's going to be, this is the best way to put it. I don't think much is going to change in the immediate. Okay.
So in the short term, nothing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But over the course of this year, this feels like it's going to stay similar. But over the next couple of years, I think you're going to see a lot of addition rather than subtraction. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. In other words, building infrastructure around the team,
correct.
right?
Yeah. Well, Brian
it's just
Windhorst.
going to be more and better. Yeah.
Yeah. Momo, Brian, we're talking to Ramona Shelburne. Brian Windhorst was on with the morning show the other day, and Windy thought, Ramona, he thinks differently than you. He thinks that Mark Walter will become the governor, but Jeanie will be the president and still run stuff. You disagree with that?
For now, I think that she is the governor, and I think Mark asked Jeanie to stay on. Like this,
right.
This was up to when they were working this out. This was important to Mark, and I think maybe we're talking about basketball versus business.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's a really big distinction. I think she will still be involved in basketball, but I think she'll definitely be involved in the brand and the business, because quite frankly, the reason why the team's worth $10 billion is because of the way the Buss family's managed that brand. And knowing how to sort of be the keepers of that Laker flame, right? Of why do they have all these great stars, and why do people still flock there, and the game day experience and all that stuff. But I think it's really important, and especially like this is why you got to think about Luka Doncic. He literally just went through this in Dallas, where he had one owner he was very close to, and then all of a sudden, and I think that was really important over the summer for him to get very comfortable with, really comfortable with Mark Walter's group,
Ramona,
and feel like nothing's going to change,
Ramona,
or feel like he could trust them too.
Let me ask you, did he get unanimous approval as a new owner? And as a new owner, will he be afraid of the luxury tax?
So this is a two-step process.
Yes.
So today was just talking to the advisory finance committee. So that's like a subcommittee of, I don't know how many of the owners are on that, but it's a smaller group. Let's say it's 5 to 8 or something. Maybe it's 10. I don't know. But it's a subcommittee, and they're the ones who always review the financials and make sure everything looks right. Okay, the money's there, et cetera. So then they decide after today's meeting that they had to whether to present the offer as it's currently submitted to the full board of governors. And I think that could happen as soon as next week, so at some point next week. And then the votes will be due then. They'll have, I don't know how long they give them. It's a couple of days or something to submit a vote. Then we'll find out if he got all the votes. I expect it to be unanimous. I can't imagine anyone saying, because Mychal, think about it like this. This lifts all boats. All their franchises are way more valuable now because the Lakers are worth $10 billion.
Yep.
Right.
And what about the salary?
It's like the house next door sells for you for $3 million. It's like your house goes up too.
Will he be the kind of owner that says, you know what, salary cap luxury tax be damned? I want to just build the best team.
Well, look at the Dodgers.
Look at the Dodgers. They got all these. To me, I think the way I know Mark, and is I've known him now since 2012. And the way he thinks is like he's very involved in the business of it, but he really does hire a lot of good people and let them do their thing. And so I think he'll be top line involved, but is he Joe Lacob, quitting his day job to go run the Dodgers? No, like Mark Walter now has a sports empire. He has the Dodgers, he has the Lakers, he has a piece of Chelsea in the English Premier League. He's got the Sparks.
Yep.
He's got the women's hockey team, the Billie Jean King League. I mean, there's he's got a whole. This is how a lot of these billionaires are operating now, where sports are the part of the portfolio. You have a sports portfolio, and there's Josh Harris with the Commanders and the Sixers and the Flyers, right? There's all these guys that have now 3 or 4 the Cronkies, right?
Yeah,
with the Rams and the Nuggets and the Avalanche. So this is, I don't know, if you're just stacking those guys up to each other, I think Mark's portfolio is maybe the second. I mean, is there anyone better?
Not bad. All right, so
Not
Momo,
bad. Lakers, Dodgers?
You're up in Portland. What is going on up there? What brings you up there? Does it have anything to do with this gambling scandal?
Yeah, well, I'm here doing the SportsCenter hits on the Blazers, who have to go play a game tonight after the head coach just got arrested at 6 a.m, and then they had to go promote Tiago Splitter to the head coaching job.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Why him and not one of Chauncey's number 1 or 2 assistants?
Okay. I actually have a good answer for you on this. So Nate Bjorken I don't know how to say, am I pronouncing that correctly, but Nate Bjorkgren, okay, that's how it's spelled.
Yep.
He had filled in for Chauncey in the past, and like when Chauncey missed a few games or he got kicked out of a game or something. But apparently, from what the general manager told me, that Nate came to him and said, I actually think Thiago is a better person to be the head coach. I'm best for this team in the role that I'm in. And he's running the defense now. And so Thiago Splitter, you know him. He played for the Spurs. Yep. He played for a couple different teams. Really good basketball mind. He was an assistant coach on the Brooklyn Nets for a number of years. And then this is going to blow your mind. You ready for this, Mychal? Mm-hmm. He coached the Paris basketball team last year, which did really well. He took over for the guy who left Paris basketball to go coach the Memphis Grizzlies, the Finnish guy, Thomas Isalo. And do you know who the GM of that team is?
Tony Parker, right? For the Paris team? No, not Tony. Who?
David Kahn.
Oh, wow. David
Kahn.
Blew my mind.
Yeah, my old tennis buddy.
Oh, my God.
David Kahn is still in sports?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, my gosh.
The man
he's probably drafting a point guard as we speak.
The guy who drafted 2 point guards before Steph Curry.
And he refused to draft Steph, and he would not take my advice and draft Clay.
It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe. I heard that name. I go,
former sports editor of the UCLA Daily Bruin,
right. And my old tennis buddy in Portland.
Is he doing better than all of us? I mean, he's living in Paris and running the basketball team.
Wow.
Jeez,
all right. So Ramona, what do you think the fallout is? I know it's way early here, but Chauncey Billups is in big trouble. Obviously, my guess is his lawyers are going to say, "Yeah, Chauncey recruited everybody to these games, but he didn't know the games were fixed." How do you think this plays out?
I mean, his lawyer put out a statement basically denying everything and saying we're going to fight this like he used to fight on the court. So, I don't know what they have on him in terms of proof. I think he probably doesn't know. That's all in discovery. That's how these cases go. They collect all this stuff, and then eventually your lawyers get access to what they have, and you get to try to defend yourself against stuff. So. He sounds like he's going to mount a pretty vigorous defense of himself. His first court date is I think it's November 24th in Brooklyn. So there's a lot of time between now and then. And then I think Terry Rozier doesn't have anything till December. So this is going to take a really long time. My question is whether these are the only arrests,
right?
Or are these the only people? I mean, all day yesterday we were here. I mean, everybody who plays poker, now everybody's looking at him.
Yep.
And Gilbert Arenas is kind of trolling everyone on social media saying he's the informant or something. I mean, it just it feels like, did you see him on social media yesterday? Because Gilbert got picked up in this poker thing too, but it was a separate investigation. His is something out in LA. And I wonder if there are other players, coaches, et cetera, that haven't been picked up yet or that could still get this thing could continue. And I think as somebody in the NBA, that's what I'm watching for is like how widespread is this going to get? Because as the feds talk to people they've arrested, what happens when they start talking to them? People talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they give up any other names? Do they
cooperate?
Do that in exchange for cooperation? So that's why everyone in the NBA is very nervous right now, because not because they're guilty, but because of just how pervasive this could be or how big this could grow.
All right. Hey, Momo, despite what Mychal says, great reporting, great story. We appreciate it. By next Friday. That is crazy.
Yeah, everybody but Mychal thinks you have a really good story today, Ramona.
You see, Mychal? You see? She was telling us a whole bunch of
Ramona,
news.
Breaking news. The Las Vegas Aces won a WNBA championship.
Don't pay attention to this guy. He knows
him,
nothing, Ramona. He knows nothing, this guy.
It's okay. I mean, listen, we don't know. I mean, I maybe he has $10 billion laying around too. I thought it was going to take longer to actually get that.
Okay, I want one word from you, Momo. This is really hard. One word from you. Dodgers in
5.
There you go. All right.
with us.
Thank you very much, Momo.
Right,
good reporting. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, y'all.
All right, there you go.